Reddit. What is the most unexplainable thing that ever happened to you? I had a living room in my parents' two-story house that connected to stairs leading to the second floor of the house. You could see completely down the hall on the second floor from the couch in the living room. One time my family went away on vacation, so I had my cousin come over while I house sat for them. I'd been alone in this house for a couple of days now and I just really wanted company. We're sitting on this couch playing Xbox, or something. The stairs leading to the second floor are almost out of my vision. At the very top of the stairs on the left is a doorway leading to a bathroom and nothing else. We were up pretty late gaming when out of the corner of my eye I saw a gray face lean out and stare at me for a split second. I didn't budge, I just barely noticed it, but as soon as I did, it was gone. I hadn't snapped to look at it, nor did I say anything. I just continued gaming for about 3 seconds until my cousin said, "Did you just see that?" As soon as our eyes connected we both knew we saw the same thing. The second my cousin said that, I felt my heart sink. It scared the shit out of me to have him pretty much confirm what I saw, but brushed off. I had immediately assumed it was just one of those blurs, or darting shadows you get in the corner of your eyes at times. The creepiest part is that it slid out as if it were lying on the floor. Whatever it was, its head was at level with the top of the steps right at the bottom of the bathroom door frame. It just sorta slid out, stared, then slid back. Again, I just saw it from the corner of my eyes, but it appeared to be gray-skinned with black hair from our combined description. We went upstairs and checked the whole bathroom, including the insides of luggage bags in the closet. We never found anything. Edit, to this day I still can't have a door in my house open. I'm afraid I'll be looking down the hall and some gray-skinned creature will just lean half its face out to silently stare at me, and then vanish. To all the people saying it was a raccoon or something, you think exactly like me. Using that as an excuse to go make sure the bathroom is clear. We both knew it was a lie, but we both would have felt safer getting attacked by a raccoon at that point. That's why we checked every single bag in the closet. Whatever it was, we had trapped into the bathroom. It had nowhere to go. Whatever it was, it disappeared without a trace. I was walking to my friend's house one summer, maybe 10 or 11 years old. Anyways, sunny day, couple clouds but otherwise it's bright out, perfect visibility, when a perfectly rectangular shadow comes up from the direction behind me on the ground, maybe 15x30 in size, traveling just faster than a car probably would be and goes over top of me. I'm looking at the shape on the ground as it goes over, and when I do look up to the sky I don't see anything that could have possibly cast it. Even the clouds were just trailing little wisps. I looked back down and it was going over some houses, and then it was gone forever. So yeah, weirdest thing was a mystery rectangle shadow. I also saw mystery rectangle shadow. It was maybe 5 years ago, hot summer day, sunny blue sky, no clouds in sight. It was fast, I would say as fast as a car and maybe as big. Zooming along the road, partly on the asphalt partly on the shrubbery beside. I saw it from the window and immediately looked in the sky, nothing there and no sound. Nevertheless I explained to myself that it was some military shit, as I am not really a big believer in paranormal. I guess it was a coincidence, but when I was little I used to go outside in the mornings to pet a cat that lived under my home. I used to play with her every day. One night I had a dream that she died, so I woke up distraught, went out to our usual place, and I called out for her. She never came out and I never saw her again since the dream. When I was about 11 we took in a dog for somebody who was very old. He wasn't in great health anymore, but we were supposed to be his final happy home, since we lived out in the middle of nowhere. We had him for about a year when one night I just randomly decided to go outside to sit with him and pet him. I sat outside and laid down on him. He was a big dog, for probably an hour even though it was a pretty chilly winter night. before anybody thinks we were leaving him out in crazy cold temperatures, he refused to go indoors, and we kept a space heater in a sheltered area he would lay down in. I don't know what possessed me to say it, but I gave him a big hug right before I went inside and told him it was okay to go. The next morning, my mom woke me up to tell me that he had passed away in the night. I helped her move his body to somewhere not out in the middle of the open so the owner could come say their final goodbye, and that was it. Honestly, I still don't understand how I knew, but I think I just empathized with his pain and told him it was okay to let go and not have to keep living for us. It was 4 in the morning, I was lying on the bed and watching a video on YouTube. Suddenly, I felt like someone jump upon the edge of the bed. At first I thought it was one of the cats, but turning my head on the chairs on which they usually slept, I made sure that both of my cats are there. The worst thing was that they were looking exactly at the edge of the bed. Turning around, I saw an imprint there as if someone was sitting there or something small was lying. As soon as I looked at it, it disappeared. Was hanging out with my friend while we were roommates, and something came up about ships in bottles. He insisted that I talked about ships in bottles frequently for several months before that point, but I honestly don't recall talking or even thinking about them really ever. His girlfriend even backed him up. I call it ship in a bottle syndrome. For about a week before my apartment burned down, I dreamed every night about various houses burning down. I had a similar experience. In high school I kept having dreams where I was in a car with some friends, and suddenly we were spinning. Well, we ended up getting T-boned, causing the car to spin. It took me a while to realize that the dreams had stopped. Now anytime I have a car accident dream I get nervous, but luckily nothing else has happened. When my daughter was about 18 months old, her grandmother passed away. That evening, I put my daughter to bed as normal, but instead of going to sleep pretty quickly as she usually did, she spent over an hour giggling and squealing with laughter. When I went to check on her, she was staring at an empty chair in her room, laughing as if she was watching the funniest thing ever. This carried on every night until the day of her grandmother's funeral. Kind of similar. My grandmother and my brother would sit under the Christmas tree playing with the train decoration running around it. She passed a few weeks before Christmas when I was very young. After her funeral, every night, at different times after midnight when we had all gone upstairs to bed, the train would turn itself on and my mom would go down and turn it off. After a week, my mom exasperatedly yelled down the stairs, "Enough, Grandma's name, we miss you but we need sleep." The train stopped and never turned itself back on again. After that Christmas, my mom refused to put a train under the tree. We gave it to our uncle who was a train enthusiast. He never had it turn on by itself after all these years. I started having a panic attack one night out of nowhere. I kept repeating something's wrong. I do have anxiety but had only had one other panic attack before this day. My husband sat on the bed with me and we tried to figure out what had triggered this. The only thing we could think of is that a family member of mine was going on a trip the next day and maybe that was making me nervous. So I made up a weird excuse to drop off coffee before they left super early the next morning. When I saw them, I felt fine. I immediately knew it wasn't connected, wished them well, and drove home. About an hour later, I get a call that a person in my family on the other side of the country died by suicide the night before. Edit, errors. Edit, thank you for all the responses, folks. I fell asleep after posting, woke up to a ton of responses, and I have really loved reading about other people's similar stories. Thank you for the award as well. At a lunch table in high school I exasperatedly put my head down and had a thought in the form of a question. My best friend a few seats down responded to my question and everyone looked at her. I asked if I said it out loud and everyone agreed I had said nothing. It was weird. We've been friends since 7th grade, I was Mo at her wedding, and was in the room with her and her husband when she gave birth to her daughter. We still make jokes about that time she read my mind in high school, lol. Not totally unexplainable and can just call it coincidence if you don't believe in sorcery. When I was in kindergarten or maybe first grade, we had a blackout at my school, and this kid goes, "Wait, I'll light a match," and proceeded to pretend to light an invisible match, and the lights came back on, and we cheered for him. Then he said, "Oh, it's too hot," and he blew it out, then the lights went back out. Wizardry. Not me but my parents. In the place they used to live in, there was this old couch. My mom sometimes would walk by in the middle of the night and see a silhouette sitting there. She describes it as a man, sitting down, with a hat on, just sitting there. She saw it several times but thought nothing of it. Damn, she's brave, LMAO. She never told my dad, who one day said to her, "It's weird, but sometimes in the middle of the night I think I see a man sitting down on the couch doing nothing." So yeah, they both saw the same man sitting on this couch, and they told each other after they'd both seen it. Weird. When I was about 10 years old, I woke up and had no recollection of the day before. I told my little brother and he said he had the same problem. I however didn't believe him because he was 8 and thought it was funny, where I was mildly concerned. I think he thought it was a game and we were playing some pretend game. This of course made my folks think it was a game and no one took me seriously. All I wanted was for someone to tell me something about yesterday to jog my memory, but no one did. Still have no idea what happened. That was over 30 years ago and I'm the only one who remembers not remembering. I didn't personally witness this, but at the time my family was sufficiently freaked out by it and it was talked about a lot. One morning, my autistic brother went into my parents' room at like 3 a.m. He woke them up to tell them that his grandmother was very old and was going to die. They got a call later that day that she indeed died in her sleep that night. But he's autistic and significantly disabled, so it's not like we could just ask him how he knew that or why he said it. He did a lot of other weird psychic shit over the years, but that was the spookiest one. One of my daughters did something similar at 3 years old. Her grandpa was in the hospital and I told her that we were going to visit him. This was a common occurrence because he had a rare, but not life-threatening, blood disorder, and we always tried to visit to help him pass the time. She walked over to the window and stared out into the dark for a minute and then, all matter of fact, says, "We should hurry if you want to see him." Pause, like she was trying to think of the words, "the way he is now." That spooked me enough to wake my husband and go early, and he died within 30 minutes of us getting there. When I was around 15, my parents left me home alone for the weekend, Friday night to Sunday later afternoon, and I was thinking, this is awesome. I can chill, play games all weekend and eat what I want. Went to sleep Friday night, and then woke up to my mom waking me up to what I thought was the next morning. So I asked, "What happened? I thought you were going out the whole weekend," to which she replied, "What are you talking about? It's 4 p.m. Sunday. I have no idea what happened to those 2 days. I didn't leave the house. There was no food or washing up that had changed since they left. I hadn't looked at my phone. There were unread messages from Saturday morning. But I refused to believe I was asleep the whole time. This happened to me once. I went to bed Friday and woke up Sunday, all alone in my apartment. No drugs, no sleep deprivation, just was a missed day.